First contact and cultural clash. The sleek silver ship pierced Zeta Proxima's azure atmosphere, leaving a trail of ionized particles in its wake. Inside, Commander Ilara Chen gripped the controls, her dark eyes fixed on the swarthing planetscape below. After years of preparation and months of interstellar travel, humanity's first contact with an advanced alien civilization was mere moments away. Final approach vector locked, announced Dr. Raj Patel, his fingers dancing across the holographic display. Zetan landing beacon acquired. Ilara nodded, allowing herself a small smile. Nervous, Raj? The scientist chuckled, adjusting his glasses. Terrified and exhilarated in equal measure. You? Just focused on not crashing this very expensive ship, Ilara quipped, though her racing heart betrayed her own mix of anxiety and excitement. As they descended through wispy lavender clouds, the alien landscape came into focus. Crystalline spires jutted from the ground, their faceted surfaces refracting sunlight in dazzling patterns. Between these structures, lush purple vegetation swayed in the breeze, dotted with bioluminescent flora that pulsed with otherworldly rhythms. "It's beautiful," breathed Dr. Yuki Tanaka, the team's kinebiologist. She pressed her face against the viewscreen, drinking in every detail. "I can't wait to analyze those plants." The ship touched down with a gentle thud on a shimmering landing pad. As the engines powered down, Ilara turned to address her small crew. "Remember your training, everyone. We're here as peaceful ambassadors of Earth. Let's make a good first impression." As the airlock cycled open, Ilara stepped out onto alien soil, her heart pounding. A small delegation of Zetans waited nearby, their tall, willowy forms draped in iridescent robes. Ilara noted their blue-tinged skin, elongated limbs, and large, multifaceted eyes that seemed to shimmer with an inner light. Taking a deep breath, Ilara raised her hand in the universal gesture of peace. "Greetings," she said, her words filtered through the advanced translation device clipped to her collar. "I am Commander Ilara Chen of Earth. We come in peace and friendship." The lead Zetan, distinguished by elaborate silver markings on their face, stepped forward. When they spoke, their voice had a musical, almost crystalline quality. "Welcome to Zeta Proxima, humans. I am High Minister Zara. We have long anticipated your arrival." Ilara blinked in surprise. "You knew we were coming." Zara's multifaceted eyes sparkled with amusement. "We have been observing your world for some time. Your journey here did not go unnoticed." As the rest of Ilara's team disembarked, introductions were made. Dr. Patel could barely contain his excitement as he peppered the Zetans with questions about their technology. Dr. Tanaka was already eyeing the nearby flora with barely concealed longing. Zara gestured towards the towering crystal structures. "Come, we have prepared accommodations for you. There is much to discuss." As they walked, Ilara couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. The Zetans were polite, but there was an underlying current of tension she couldn't quite place. She caught snippets of hushed conversations among their hosts, words like primitive and amusing that didn't translate fully but left her uneasy. Their quarters were nothing short of magnificent, a suite of rooms within one of the crystal spires, offering breathtaking views of the alien cityscape. As the team settled in, marveling at the advanced amenities, Ilara pulled Raj aside. "Did you notice anything strange about our welcome?" she asked in a low voice. Raj furrowed his brow. They seemed friendly enough. "Why?" Ilara shook her head. "Just a feeling. Keep your eyes open, all right." The next few days were a whirlwind of diplomatic meetings, cultural exchanges, and scientific demonstrations. The Zetans' technology was centuries beyond Earth's: gravity manipulation, near-instantaneous space travel, and energy generation that bordered on magical. Yet as impressive as it all was, Ilara couldn't shake her growing unease. The Zetans' attitudes ranged from condescending amusement to barely veiled disdain. Comments about humanity's quaint technology or simplistic social structures became more frequent and less subtle. It all came to a head during a formal dinner with the Zitan High Council. As Ilara attempted to discuss potential trade agreements, she was interrupted by a council member named Vex. "Come now," Vex said. Mandibles clicking in what Ilara had learned was a gesture of dismissal. "Surely you don't think you have anything of value to offer us? Your species is barely out of its infancy." Ilara felt her cheeks burn. "With all due respect, Counselor, humanity has made incredible strides in a short time. We may be younger than your civilization, but we have much to offer: our art, our music, our unique perspectives." Vex's laughter cut her off, a sound like tinkling crystal that set Ilara's teeth on edge. How adorable. The little human thinks its finger paintings are worth something. The room fell silent, the tension palpable. Ilara stood, her hands clenched at her sides. If that's how you truly feel, perhaps this cultural exchange was a mistake. High Minister Zara raised a hand, their expression unreadable. "Peace, Commander Chen." Vex speaks out of turn. "Please sit. Let us continue our discussion." Ilara hesitated, then slowly sank back into her chair. As the conversation resumed, stilted and uncomfortable, she caught Ray's eye across the table. His slight nod confirmed her suspicions. They were in over their heads. Later that night, as the team regrouped in their quarters, the atmosphere was somber. "I can't believe how they're treating us," Yuki fumed, pacing the room. "Like we're some kind of pets." Reg nodded glumly. "All that talk of peaceful exchange, they just want to study us. We're a curiosity, nothing more." Ilara leaned against the window, staring out at the glittering alien city. "We can't give up," she said softly. "There's too much at stake. Humanity needs allies out here." "But how?" Yuki asked. "They clearly think we're inferior. How do we change their minds?" Ilara turned, a determined glint in her eye. "By showing them what humanity is truly capable of. They may have advanced technology, but we have something they seem to lack: adaptability, creativity, the ability to think outside the box." Raj raised an eyebrow. "What exactly are you proposing, Commander?" A slow smile spread across Ilara's face. "A series of challenges, tests if you will. We'll propose it as a way to showcase our respective cultures' strengths, and we'll prove that humanity is far more than they've assumed." As the team huddled together, brainstorming ideas, none of them could have predicted the series of events their plan would set in motion. Events that would challenge both species to their core and forge bonds stronger than anyone could have imagined. In the crystal towers of Zeta Proxima, as an alien sun dipped below the horizon, the stage was set for a clash of cultures that would reshape the future of two worlds. Unexpected connections and growing tensions. The crystal spires of Zeta Proxima gleamed in the light of twin moons as Commander Ilara Chen paced her quarters, mind racing. Her team's audacious plan to prove humanity's worth through a series of challenges was set to begin tomorrow. Sleep eluded her, the weight of an entire species' reputation resting squarely on her shoulders. A soft chime interrupted her thoughts. "Enter," she called, surprised by the late-night visitor. The door shimmered and parted, revealing the tall, willowy form of Lyra, a young Zetan scientist who had been assigned as their liaison. Unlike many of her peers, Lyra seemed genuinely fascinated by the humans, her multifaceted eyes always sparkling with curiosity. "Forgive the intrusion, Commander," Lyra said, her crystalline voice tinged with concern. I wanted to warn you." Ilara's brow furrowed. "Warn me? About what?" Lyra glanced nervously over her shoulder before entering, the door sealing behind her. "The challenges you've proposed. The High Council has agreed, but," she hesitated, mandibles clicking softly. "They've rigged them. They intend to humiliate you, to prove once and for all that humans are inferior." Ilara felt a cold knot form in her stomach. "Why are you telling me this, Lyra? Won't you get in trouble?" The young Zetan's skin flushed a deeper shade of blue. "Because it's wrong. And because I believe in you, Commander. In all of you, you're unlike anything we expected. A warmth spread through Ilara's chest, chasing away some of the doubt that had plagued her. Thank you, Lyra. We won't let you down. As Lyra left, Ilara quickly gathered her team. In the dim light of their common room, she relayed Lyra's warning. So it's Raj said, running a hand through his disheveled hair. Great, as if we weren't already at a disadvantage. Yuki, however, grinned fiercely. Good. When we win anyway, it'll be even more impressive. Ilara nodded, feeling a surge of pride in her crew. Exactly. We're going to show them what humans do best: adapt and overcome. Now, let's strategize. The first challenge dawned bright and clear. A crowd of Zetans gathered in a vast amphitheater, their iridescent robes shimmering in the sunlight. High Minister Zara stood on a raised platform, flanked by the stern-faced members of the High Council. Welcome, humans and Zetans alike, Zara's voice rang out. Today marks the beginning of our cultural exchange challenges. May they bring greater understanding between our peoples. Ilara caught the slight smirk on Councillor Vex's face and steeled herself. Whatever they had planned, her team would face it head-on. The first challenge, Zara continued, is one of problem-solving and engineering. Before you stands a quantum flux stabilizer, a key component in our faster-than-light drives. It has been, shall we say, creatively disassembled. Your task is to reassemble and activate it within the time limit. As a shimmering curtain fell away, Ilara's heart sank. The disassembled device looked more like it had been put through a blender. Pieces of every size and shape lay scattered across a large table, some pulsing with otherworldly energy. Raj whispered, "That's impossible. We don't even understand the basic principles of their FTL tech, let alone." "We've got this," Ilara interrupted, her voice firm. "Yuki, start categorizing the pieces by size and apparent function. Raj, see if you can interface with any active components using our tablets. I'll work on the overall structure." As they set to work, the Zetan crowd murmured and chittered, clearly expecting an easy victory for their side. Ilara tuned them out, focusing entirely on the task at hand. Hours passed in a blur of frantic activity. Sweat beaded on Ilara's brow as she carefully manipulated components that defied Earth physics. Raj muttered strings of complex equations under his breath, his fingers flying across his tablet. Yuki's keen eye for biological structures proved surprisingly useful in deciphering the organic-looking power couplings. With mere minutes left on the clock, a horrible screech filled the air. The partially assembled device shuddered and sparked, tendrils of energy whipping outward. The Zetan team scrambled backward, panic in their multifaceted eyes. "It's overloading," Raj shouted. "The containment field is failing." Without hesitation, Ilara plunged her hands into the heart of the machine. Ignoring the searing pain, she twisted two crystals in opposite directions. The screeching stopped abruptly, replaced by a low, steady hum. The device rose gently into the air, pulsing with a soft blue light. A stunned silence fell over the amphitheater. Zara's voice, when it came, was filled with disbelief. "Impossible. You've done it. And with an unorthodox modification that increases efficiency by 7%. Ilara stood tall, despite the pain in her burned hands. "As we said, Minister, humanity has much to offer." The crowd erupted in a mixture of cheers and bewildered exclamations. As medical drones tended to Ilara's injuries, she caught sight of Lyra beaming at her from the stands. Councillor Vex, however, looked far from pleased. Word of the humans' unexpected victory spread quickly through the Crystal City. Over the next few days, Ilara and her team found themselves a center of attention. Zetan scientists clamored to discuss their unorthodox approach, while regular citizens watched them with a new sense of respect. Not everyone was thrilled with this turn of events, however. Ilara noticed increased security around their quarters, ostensibly for their protection. But she couldn't shake the feeling they were being watched, their movements restricted. Late one evening, as Ilara walked the luminescent gardens near their residence, she encountered Lyra again. The young Zayton seemed agitated, her skin rippling with nervous patterns. "Commander," Lyra said in a hushed tone, "I had to see you. Things are changing. Your victory has sparked something. Debates in the High Council, protests in the streets. Some see you as a threat to our way of life. Others," she paused, mandibles clicking softly, "others see hope." Ilara frowned. "Hope? What do you mean?" Lyra's multifaceted eyes darted around before she leaned in close. "Our society has been stagnant for centuries, Commander. Set in our ways, convinced of our superiority. But you've shown us something different, something vibrant and unpredictable." A chill ran down Ilara's spine. "That sounds dangerously close to revolution talk, Lyra." The Zayton's skin flushed deep blue. "Perhaps it is time for a change. But be careful, Commander. Those in power will not relinquish it easily. The next challenges, they will be far more difficult and far more dangerous." As if on cue, a low, thrumming alarm began to sound throughout the city. Lyra's eyes widened in fear. "The void storms. They're here early. You must get to shelter immediately." Ilara looked up to see the sky darkening, swirling with ominous energy. "What about you?" Lyra was already backing away. "I'll be fine. Go, and Commander, whatever happens, know that you've already changed us more than you can imagine." As Ilara raced back to her team's quarters, the first bolts of impossible lightning began to strike the crystal towers. The air crackled with eldritch energy, and in the distance, something huge and shapeless began to coalesce in the storm clouds. Breathless, she burst into the common room where Rage and Yuki waited, their faces pale with worry. "Status report," she barked. Rage's fingers danced across a holographic display. "Some kind of interdimensional weather event. The Zetans have shields, but they're failing in sections of the city. And there are reports of incursions." "Incursions?" Yuki asked, her voice trembling slightly. A bone-shaking roar answered her question, far too close for comfort. Ilara squared her shoulders, years of training kicking in. "Looks like we're about to face our next challenge a little early. Raj, see if you can interface with the Zayton defense systems. Yuki, we need to turn this place into a fortified shelter fast." As her team scrambled to action, Ilara allowed herself one moment of grim reflection. They had come to Zeta Proxima to forge peaceful relations between their species. Now it seemed they would have to save both their peoples from an otherworldly threat. The void storm raged outside, reality itself seeming to warp and twist. In the heart of an alien city, 3 humans prepared to face the impossible. Little did they know, their actions in the coming hours would reshape the destiny of 2 civilizations and ignite a spark of change that would burn across the stars. Crisis and revelation. The void storm howled with otherworldly fury, ripping through Zeta Proxima's defenses like tissue paper. Commander Ilara Chen peered out the reinforced window of their makeshift command center, watching in awe and horror as reality itself seemed to fracture around them. "Quantum fluctuations off the charts," Raj shouted over the din, his fingers dancing across the jury-rigged console that merged human and Zetan tech. "These aren't just storms, they're tears in the fabric of spacetime." Yuki's voice crackled over the comms. "We've got incoming. Some kind of, I don't even know how to describe them. Void entities, they're facing through the walls." Ilara's mind raced. They were woefully unprepared for this, but giving up wasn't an option. "Rage, can you use the quantum flux stabilizer we fixed to create some kind of barrier?" The scientist's eyes lit up. "Brilliant. If I can reverse the polarity and amplify the containment field, give me 5 minutes." "You've got 2, Ilara replied grimly, unholstering her sidearm. It might be useless against interdimensional horrors, but it was better than nothing. "Yuki, fall back to our position. We make our stand here." As if on cue, the far wall began to ripple and distort. A mass of writhing tentacles and impossible geometries began to push through, defying the laws of physics with every movement. The air filled with a bone-chilling screech that set Ilara's teeth on edge. "Any time now, Raj," she yelled, firing her weapon at the monstrosity. The energy bolts passed harmlessly through it, but the creature recoiled slightly, as if more annoyed than hurt. "Almost there," Raj called back. The quantum flux stabilizer hummed to life, projecting a shimmering field of energy that expanded rapidly through the room. The void entity shrieked as it was forced back, its form dissolving into mist. Ilara allowed herself a moment of relief before the reality of their situation set in. This is just one building. What about the rest of the city? Before anyone could respond, the door burst open. Lara stumbled in, her iridescent robes torn and her blue skin pale with fear. "Commander, thank the cosmic harmony you're alive." "Lyra, what's happening out there?" Ilara steadied the young Zaytan, noting the haunted look in her multifaceted eyes. "It's chaos," Lyra gasped. "The High Council. They've retreated to their secure bunker, leaving the rest of us to fend for ourselves. Our defenses are failing, and these abominations, they're everywhere." Rage boiled in Ilara's chest. So much for the Zetan's vaunted superiority. "We need to expand this barrier, protect as much of the city as we can. Raj, can you replicate this setup?" The scientist nodded, already gathering components. "With Zetan tech, absolutely. But we'll need to place stabilizers at key points throughout the city." "It's suicide to go out there," Yuki protested, but Ilara could see the determination in her eyes. "Maybe for us," Ilara mused, an idea forming. "But not for everyone." She turned to Lyra. "You said some of your people see us as hope for change. Are there others who would be willing to help?" Lyra's skin rippled with patterns of surprise and dawning realization. "Ah, yes. Many of the younger generation. Scientists, engineers, those who chafe under the Council's rigid control." "Good. Gather as many as you can. We're going to save this city, with or without the Council's approval." What followed was a desperate race against time. As the void storm raged and reality buckled, an unlikely alliance of humans and Zetan rebels spread out across the crystal metropolis. Guided by Ray's brilliance and Ilara's leadership, they installed makeshift stabilizers at strategic locations, slowly pushing back the interdimensional incursion. Ilara found herself working alongside Zax, a Zetan engineer whose dry wit reminded her of Raj. As they calibrated a stabilizer atop a swaying crystal spire, void entities clawing at the failing shields around them, an unexpected camaraderie blossomed. "I must admit," Zax chittered, deftly manipulating alien tech, "I had my doubts about your species. But this is most impressive." Ilara grinned, wiping sweat from her brow. "Humanity's greatest strength is our ability to adapt, to see solutions where others see only problems." "Indeed," Zax mused. "Perhaps there is much our peoples could learn from each other. Assuming we survive this, of course." Their banter was cut short as a massive void entity, larger than any they'd seen before, began to coalesce above the city's center. Its form defied description, a constantly shifting mass of tentacles, eyes, and gnashing maws that hurt to look upon. "By the cosmic harmony," Zax whispered, "it's a void leviathan. We're doomed." But Ilara's mind was already racing. The quantum flux stabilizers, if we overload them simultaneously, could we create a feedback loop, force the tear to close on itself? Zax's multifaceted eyes widened. The energy required, it would drain our city's power for decades. But it just might work. Ilara keyed her comms. "Raj, tell me you heard that. Can you rig the stabilizers to overload on command?" "Already on it, Commander," came the reply. "But someone will need to activate a sequence manually from the central power core. The radiation, it would be a one-way trip." A heavy silence fell over the channel. Ilara knew what she had to do. "Understood. I'll..." No, Lyra's voice cut in, firm and resolute. I'll do it. Lyra, you can't. Ilara protested, but the young Zayton interrupted. My whole life, I've watched my people stagnate, convinced of our superiority. You've shown us a better way, Commander. Let me do this. Let me save my world. Tears stung Ilara's eyes, but she knew there was no time to argue. All right, Lyra, thank you. What followed was a blur of desperate action. As the void Leviathan descended upon the city, Rage's voice counted down the seconds to overload. Ilara and Zax raced through disintegrating streets, helping civilians to shelter and praying their plan would work. Just when all seemed lost, as the Leviathan's massive form blotted out the sky, a blinding flash of energy erupted from the city's heart. The air itself seemed to scream as the interdimensional tear was forcibly slammed shut. The void storm evaporated, leaving stunned silence in its wake. As the dust settled and the citizens of Zeta Proxima emerged from hiding, Ilara and her team found themselves at the center of a gathering crowd. Zetans of all ages looked to them with a mixture of awe, gratitude, and dawning hope. The moment was shattered by the arrival of the High Council, led by a visibly shaken Minister Zara. What is the meaning of this? The minister demanded. Who authorized this reckless action? Ilara stepped forward, her voice ringing out clear and strong. With all due respect, Minister, we did what had to be done. While you hid in your bunker, humans and Zetans worked together to save this city. A murmur of agreement rippled through the crowd. Councillor Vex pushed forward, mandibles clicking furiously. This is outrageous. These primitives have overstepped their bounds. They must be contained, studied. No. The word came not from Ilara, but from Zax. The Zetan engineer stood tall, his voice carrying across the gathering. We've seen what humans are capable of. Their adaptability, their courage, their willingness to sacrifice for others. It's time we reconsidered our place in the galaxy. More voices joined in, a chorus of agreement swelling from the crowd. Minister Zara looked around, clearly sensing the shift in public opinion. With a resigned sigh, she raised her hands for silence. Perhaps, Zara said slowly, it is time for a change. Commander Chen, it seems we have much to discuss. As the crowd cheered and the first light of a new day broke over the horizon, Ilara felt a bittersweet ache in her chest. They had achieved more than she could have ever dreamed, forging the beginnings of a true alliance between their peoples. But the cost, she thought of Lyra's sacrifice, of all those lost in the void storm. Commander, Rage's voice broke through her reverie. What now? Ilara squared her shoulders, looking out over the sea of human and Zetan faces turned towards her expectantly. In that moment, she knew that everything had changed. The future of both their species hung in the balance, full of challenges and opportunities they had yet to imagine. Now, she said, a small smile tugging at her lips, we build something new, together. As the twin suns of Zeta Proxima rose over the crystal spires, casting rainbows through the lingering mists of the void storm, a new chapter in galactic history began to unfold. The unlikeliest of allies, born from crisis and revelation, stood poised to reshape the very stars themselves. Cosmic convergence. The aftermath of the void storm left Zeta Proxima forever changed. In the weeks that followed, the Crystal City buzzed with an energy unlike anything in its long history. Humans and Zetans worked side by side, rebuilding and reimagining their shared future. Commander Ilara Chen stood atop the newly christened Unity Spire, the tallest structure in the city, gazing out at the skyline. The scars of the interdimensional battle were still visible, but so too were signs of progress and innovation. Quite a view, isn't it? A familiar voice chittered behind her. Ilara turned to see Zax, the Zetan engineer who had become an unlikely friend and ally. It's incredible, Ilara agreed. I never imagined we'd come this far in such a short time. Zax's multifaceted eyes shimmered with amusement. You humans have a way of exceeding expectations. The High Council is still reeling from the changes. Before Ilara could respond, her comm device chimed. "Commander," Reb's excited voice came through. "You need to see this. We've made a breakthrough." Minutes later, Ilara and Zax entered the bustling laboratory that had become the heart of human-Zetan collaboration. Raj and a team of Zetan scientists huddled around a pulsing orb of energy suspended in a containment field. "What am I looking at?" Ilara asked, squinting at the swirling colors within the sphere. Yuki stepped forward, her eyes bright with excitement. "We've been studying the residual energy from the void storm. This," she gestured to the orb, "is a stabilized quantum singularity, a gateway between dimensions." Ilara's eyes widened. "You mean?" "We can control it," Raj finished, grinning. "Open portals to specific points in space-time. The applications are endless: instantaneous travel across the galaxy, clean energy production, maybe even time travel," a grey voice interrupted. Minister Zara glided into the room, flanked by members of the High Council. The atmosphere immediately tensed. Ilara straightened, ready to defend their work, but Zara held up a hand. "Peace, Commander. We're not here to shut you down. Quite the opposite, in fact." Councillor Vex, once their harshest critic, stepped forward. His mandibles clicked softly before he spoke. "We've received a message from the future." A stunned silence fell over the lab. Ilara found her voice first. "I'm sorry, what?" Zara nodded to a technician who activated a holographic display. A flickering image appeared, an older version of Ilara herself, her hair streaked with grey, her face lined with years of experience. "If you're seeing this," the future Ilara began, her voice tinged with urgency, "then there's still hope. The quantum gateway you've discovered is the key to saving not just our worlds, but the entire galaxy. The void entities you faced, they're just the beginning. In our time, they've overrun countless civilizations. But together, humans and Zetans created a defense network spanning space and time itself. You must." The message cut off abruptly, leaving the room in shocked silence. "Well," Raj said, breaking the tension, "I guess retirement's out of the question." Despite the gravity of the situation, Ilara couldn't help but smile. It was so typically human to face cosmic threats with humor. She turned to Minister Zara. "What do you propose?" The Zetan leader's expression was solemn. "We stand at a crossroads, Commander Chen. Our two species, once divided by prejudice, now hold the fate of the galaxy in our hands. The High Council proposes a joint task force, Operation Cosmic Bulwark. Will you lead it?" Ilara felt the weight of history settling on her shoulders. She looked around the room, at Raj and Yuki, at Zax and the other Zetans who had become more than allies. They were friends, partners in an adventure beyond imagination. "We accept," Ilara said firmly. "On one condition: this isn't just about defense. We need to reach out to other species, form a galactic alliance. United, we'll stand a better chance against whatever's coming." Zara's multifaceted eyes sparkled with something Ilara had never seen in a Zetan before: hope. "Agreed. Let us forge a new path among the stars." The next months were a whirlwind of activity. The quantum gateway technology advanced by leaps and bounds, allowing for the creation of a network of interconnected portals spanning the galaxy. Ilara and her team, now expanded to include the brightest minds from both species, traveled to distant worlds, making first contact with civilizations beyond their wildest dreams. Not all encounters were peaceful. Some species, like the silicon-based crystallines of Theta Nebula, greeted them with open hostility. Others, like the enigmatic energy beings of the cerulean void, were so alien that communication seemed impossible at first. But with each challenge, the human-Zetan alliance grew stronger. They learned to combine Zetan logic and precision with human creativity and adaptability in ways that continually surprised their new galactic neighbors. One particularly harrowing mission found Ilara, Zax, and a mixed team trapped on a dying world in the Andromeda galaxy. As the planet's core destabilized, Threatening to tear the entire system apart, they raced against time to evacuate the native population. The portal generators fried. Rage's panic voice came through their comms. "We can't get a stable connection." Ilara looked at the thousands of alien refugees huddled in the cavern, their bioluminescent skin pulsing with fear. She turned to Zax, an idea forming. "The crystalline matrix in their biology. Could we use it to amplify the quantum signal?" Zax's eyes widened. "Brilliant. If we reconfigure the emitters to resonate with their unique frequency." Working together in perfect synchronization, human ingenuity and Zetan precision combined to create a miracle. As the planet's crust began to crack beneath their feet, a massive portal shimmered to life. Ilara and Zax stood side by side, ushering the grateful refugees to safety. As the last route passed through, the ground gave way beneath them. Ilara felt herself falling, but a strong hand grasped her arm. She looked up to see Zax, his other limbs anchored to a sturdy outcropping. "I've got you, Commander," he chittered, strain evident in his voice. With a mighty heave, Zax pulled Ilara to safety. They tumbled through the portal just as the cavern collapsed behind them, emerging onto the tranquil surface of a Zetan colony world. As the rescued aliens marveled at their new surroundings, Ilara turned to Zax. "Thank you," she said softly. "I owe you my life." Zax's skin rippled with patterns of embarrassment and affection. "We're partners, Ilara. More than that, we're family now." The moment was interrupted by an urgent transmission from Zeta Proxima. Minister Zara's holographic form appeared before them, her expression grave. "Commander, we've detected a massive buildup of void energy in the Cygnus arm. It's like nothing we've ever seen. We need you back here immediately." Ilara exchanged a determined look with Zax. Whatever was coming, they would face it together, not as humans and Zetans, but as a united front against the darkness that threatened all life. As they stepped through another portal, leaving the grateful refugees in capable hands, Ilara felt a mix of fear and exhilaration. The greatest challenge of their lives lay ahead, but she had faith in the bonds they had forged. The fate of the galaxy hung in the balance, and at the center of it all stood an unlikely family, born of crisis, tempered by shared purpose, and ready to rewrite the very stars themselves. Little did they know, the true test of their alliance was yet to come, a cosmic chess game where the pieces were worlds, and the stakes were nothing less than the future of all sentient life. Echoes of eternity. The quantum portal crackled with energy as Commander Ilara Chen and her diverse team materialized on the observation deck of the Celestial Sentinel, humanity's most advanced space station. The view that greeted them stole their breath away, a vast, swirling maelstrom of void energy that dwarfed entire star systems. "By the cosmic harmony," Zax whispered, his multifaceted eyes wide with awe and terror. Reed's fingers danced across holographic displays, analyzing the incoming data. "It's like nothing we've ever seen. The void isn't just growing, it's evolving." Minister Zara's holographic form shimmered into existence beside them. "Our worst fears have been confirmed. This isn't a natural phenomenon. It's alive." Ilara's mind raced, piecing together everything they'd learned over the past months. The void entities, the storms, even the Leviathan, they were just extensions of something far greater. A void overmind, Yuki breathed, her xenobiologist's intuition kicking into overdrive. A cosmic intelligence beyond our comprehension. As if in response to their realization, the swirling chaos before them pulsed, sending out waves of energy that made reality itself shudder. Alarms blared throughout the station as systems struggled to compensate. "We're picking up a signal," a technician shouted. It's coming from inside the void." Before anyone could react, the observation deck's screens flickered to life. What they saw defied explanation, a being of pure energy, its form constantly shifting between shapes both familiar and utterly alien. When it spoke, its voice resonated not just through the speakers, but in the very minds of all present. Eldoran of Maitker. It boomed, the words somehow conveying both infinite age and childlike curiosity. UAKV du roon our ATT entiron. Ilara stepped forward, her voice steady despite the cosmic terror before her. I am Commander Ilara Chen, representing the United Galactic Alliance. Why have you come to our realm? The being's form rippled, and Ilara felt an overwhelming sense of amusement. Realance, dimensions, such limited concepts. We are eternity. We are TAHVOIT between spaces, and you are ANANOMANALLY. Images flashed through their minds, countless civilizations rising and falling, entire galaxies born and dying in the blink of an eye. Through it all, a pattern emerged, the void consuming, assimilating, growing. You resist, the being continued. UADAP. UFFOG colonizations across boundaries. We foot RMUTABLE. Fascinating. Zax chittered nervously. It's studying us. Like was some kind of cosmic science experiment. The realization hit Ilara like a thunderbolt. That's exactly what we are. To them, the destruction of our worlds, our very existence, is just data. She turned back to the shimmering visage of the void overmind. We are more than experiments. We are living, thinking beings with the right to exist. XSS tense. The being's amusement grew. UENDRSTND says so little. Come, let USSHO you eternity. Before anyone could react, tendrils of void energy lashed out, enveloping Ilara, Zax, Raj, and Yuki. The world around them dissolved into chaos as they were pulled into the heart of the cosmic maelstrom. What followed was a journey beyond imagination. They witnessed the birth of universes, the dance of dimensions beyond human comprehension. They saw countless versions of themselves, lives lived, choices made and unmade across the infinite tapestry of existence. Through it all, the void overmind's presence surrounded them, its vast intelligence probing their minds, their very souls. Do you see no? It asked. Your lives, your civilizations, me are grains of sand in the cosmic aerogelas. Why resist the inevitable? Ilara felt her sense of self slipping away, the weight of eternity threatening to crush her very being. But then, in the depths of that cosmic despair, she felt something else, a warmth, a connection. She reached out, finding Zax's hand in the chaos. Rage and Yuki were there too, their presences anchoring her to reality. And beyond them, she felt the echoes of every being they'd encountered, every life they'd touched in their journey across the stars. You're wrong, Ilara said, her voice growing stronger. We may be small, but we are not insignificant. Our connections, our ability to grow and change, that's what makes us unique in all the cosmos. She felt the overmind's surprise ripple through the void. Impossible. You cannot while you understand it. We don't have to, Raj chimed in, his brilliant mind grasping the situation. We create our own eternity, moment by moment, choice by choice. Our diversity is our strength, Yuki added, her voice resonating with conviction. Zax's thoughts joined the chorus. We may be grains of sand, but together we form worlds, galaxies, a universe of infinite possibility. As they spoke, Ilara felt something shifting in the fabric of reality around them. The void energy began to resonate with their combined will, their united purpose. Fascinating, the overmind's voice echoed, tinged with something new, respect. Perhaps we AKVBEN mistaken. With a cosmic shudder, Ilara and her team found themselves back on the celestial sentinel, but they were changed, their minds expanded by the journey beyond space and time. The swirling maelstrom of void energy before them had transformed. Instead of chaos and destruction, it now pulsed with vibrant colors, a gateway to realms beyond imagination. What happened? Minister Zara asked, her holographic form flickering with confusion. Alara smiled, feeling the echoes of eternity still resonating within her. We showed them a different path. The void entities aren't our enemies, they're our newest allies. As if in response, the transformed void shimmered, and a multitude of beings emerged, creatures of pure energy, of crystalline thought, of dimensions beyond human understanding. Yet now, instead of terror, Ilara felt only wonder and possibility. Sci-Fi of Mater, the Overmind's voice rang out, softer now, almost gentle. U8AVETOUJTUS something in you. Perhaps there is more we to EXISTNC than we yen you. In the days that followed, a new era dawned for the galaxy. The United Galactic Alliance expanded to include beings from across the dimensional spectrum. The void entities, once harbingers of destruction, became bridges to new frontiers of science and exploration. Ilara found herself at the center of it all, a living symbol of the power of connection and understanding. As she stood with her team, human, Zetan, and now so much more, she knew that their greatest adventures were just beginning. So, Raj said, a mischievous glint in his eye, "Where to next, Commander? We've got all of eternity to explore." Ilara laughed, feeling the infinite possibilities stretching out before them. Why choose? Let's go everywhere. As they stepped towards the shimmering portal of possibility, Ilara realized that their journey had come full circle. What had begun with alien women mocking humans had transformed into a cosmic odyssey beyond imagination. They had changed the fate of galaxies, challenged the very nature of existence, and emerged stronger for it. And in doing so, they had proven that the true power of humanity, of all sentient life, lay not in technology or physical might, but in the boundless capacity for growth, adaptation, and connection. The stars beckoned, and Ilara Chen, once a simple Earth commander, now a bridge between realities, led her family of cosmic explorers into a future bright with the promise of endless discovery. As the portal engulfed them, carrying them to realms yet unknown, Ilara's final thought echoed across the cosmos. In the face of eternity, it is our bonds that make us infinite.